Hi, I'm Michelle Battetti. I'm the Food and Beverage Director for DFMWR, and today I'm going to teach you how to make spaghetti squash pomodoro. It's a very easy and very low-fat recipe to make. It's very delicious. It's a good way to cut out on carbs. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find yourself spaghetti squash. This time of year is great. It's very inexpensive right now. Any of the stores have it. Right now, of course, we use Publix, so it's a good place to go get it. And what you're going to do is you can roast it in the oven, or you can do it in the microwave. It's easier to do it in the microwave. What you do is you're going to make several cuts in it, and you're going to cook it about 7 or 8 minutes one side, then you're going to flip it over 7 or 8 minutes on the other side. You can cut it totally in half and roast it. So what you want to do, I like to use baby portobello mushrooms. And you can cut them in half, or you can slice them and leave them whole. I like to cut them. It's a little bit easier, especially if you have children, easier to eat. So you just want to kind of get your mushrooms cut up, put them to the side. Then what you want to do is you want to use always fresh garlic. You don't have to chop it real fine. Garlic's better if you don't chop it real fine. Just a few slices, okay? Get that ready. And then you're going to use shallots. A lot of people confuse shallots and scallions. Scallions are more like an onion. Shallot is a real small, comes in a bag like this. I like it a little quick thing, and I don't know if you could see what I'm going to do here. You cut it in half, okay, peel it, leave the little end on, and what you want to do is you want to take your knife and just cut a couple little slits like that, go down long ways like that, and then when you do it and you just come across, then you're already diced. Makes it a little bit easier. Put that right in with your garlic. Then you're going to use Roma tomatoes or plum tomatoes. Make sure they're soft, okay, because you want them to be pretty ripe. You're just going to cut them in half. Take the core out. Pretty easy to do. Cut them in half. You can de-seed them if you like. I don't really mind the seeds. Some people do. You could take the seeds out pretty easy. They'll cook down. Then you're going to have some fresh basil. You just, very easy, you take it and you roll it, roll the leaves, and you just slice it down real thin. And just put that to the side as well. And then what we have is delicious Italian parsley. You can find it, it's usually, they keep it a couple rows down from the cilantro so you don't get confused. A little different from curly parsley, which you probably see on garnishes. A little bit different flavor, and you can just chop that up as well. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to get, I like to use garlic infused oil. You want to start with that. I put down like, you know, a couple of tablespoons of oil. And then start with your garlic and your shallots. So what you're going to do is get that cooking up. Once that starts getting a little brown, you're going to add your mushrooms and your tomatoes and start getting them cooked down a little bit. Okay, so mushrooms go in. And your tomatoes. And it's really important at this time too, I always like to salt and pepper as I'm sauteing my mushrooms. And you should always use either kosher salt or sea salt, and do that right at this time. So just again, cook that down a little bit, toss it around, let it cook up. All right, so also a great thing with this, you can always add chicken and shrimp to it if you want. Also, we do use white wine, so you just kind of saute this, and we use the white wine to deglaze the pan, but if for some reason you cannot use wine in a recipe for any reason, you can use chicken broth, and if you're vegetarian, you can use vegetarian broth. So you're just going to cook that down a little bit. In the meantime, when that's going down, you're going to pull your spaghetti squash out. When you open it up, that's what it's going to look like, okay? So what you're going to do is, the little seeds in the back, and a spoon or a pair of tongs, you're just going to, right in the middle, you're going to pull out those seeds. And if you see, that's why they call it spaghetti squash, because it looks like spaghetti. You know, a lot of people do Weight Watchers. You can have a whole plate of this with the sauce without the cheese on it for 1 point. So once this cooks down, you see it gets cooked down, you can add a little bit of the diced tomatoes to it. And then you're going to add your basil and your fresh Italian parsley. Now, What you can also do, so it's going to look like that, you're just going to cook it down a little bit more, flip it around a little bit, and then again, you can always use a little extra cheese. I like a 3 blend. It's Romano, Parmesan, and Asiago. I also like to use fresh mozzarella. Get the fresh mozzarella, little balls, cut them in half, throw that in there too. That adds to it again. Then you're adding a little bit more fat, but you know, it's a little extra fat. It's wintertime, so. Okay, so you just let this cook down, and then you just get your spaghetti squash, put a little bit on. It's awesome.